Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I know I've been kind of lazy with all of the video taking, but I will definitely do my best to do more in the new year, and that's because I am planning on something different a little bit. So first things first, the healing is going really well. You can see the scar, but I have full range of motion. I can pretty much, I'm just not allowed to lift. I can do everything else, but anything over 10 pounds, I'm still not allowed to really pick up. But let's be real, I'm not really lifting. As you can kind of tell. So that's good. So biking's pretty much good. So running, every other exercise I want to do, I can. So I'm really happy with that. But yeah, so I will the purpose of today's video is pretty much just lay out the next year's goals, and kind of what my plan is and stuff like that. So and I'll kind of do that not organized as I always do in my videos, but so well, first things, I guess I'll start off right away. My fiance and I signed up for a triathlon. So we actually are getting married next year, and one of our goals was to do a triathlon together. So we signed up for a 70.3, which is a half Ironman, which is a pretty long thing actually now that I look at it, but we kind of decided to jump heads first and then train and do our best, do what we can do. Honestly, like, I didn't really, I guess the inspiration for this was she did her sprint try, I guess, last year, and I was there, cheering her on. But I was really inspired by her and just her doing the try, so it kind of inspired me to do one as well. And it was also kind of on my bucket list, and I think, as I get older, those things are going to be harder to do, but now that I have some time and I'm in a decent shape, I kind of want to do half now, and then before I'm 40, really, because that's going to probably take a long time to train for, but I do want to do a full Ironman as well. But I don't think I'm nowhere near ready to really commit that amount of training time, or just even the length of race just feels in my head it's just too long for me to actually race that long. So I'm not gonna train for that this year, but I will slowly maybe increase my volume to, at some point in the near future, I can hit that and get that off my bucket list. But don't worry, bike racing is still a priority. I will still race as much as I can. I have some plans around that as well. I noticed that this year I was strong, but I really lacked the group riding, which I started in 2019, 2020, but then this year I really didn't do any of it. I just trained on my own, and then I went to race and I was really uncomfortable in a group, which I will try and change. So 2022 goal is to try and go. I found a couple of group rides I can do in Philly, and I'll also try and do more of a training crit series on Thursday, the Great Valley that I have on my channel, which I really didn't do this year. I'll try and do more of those because I think those are actually very good training series, and just for a new rider, in general, if you're a new cyclist, definitely try and find those, group rides, training rides, practice crit, stuff like that. Just get more comfortable. Not really even bike handling, just getting comfortable with people around you. I think that's very important, and something that I guess it's easily overlooked if you're just training and not thinking about the skill aspect of the sport. But yeah, so 70.3, I will not tell you which one we are looking at yet, because we're also not 100% sure. We have a couple in mind, but it's going to depend on the wedding and honeymoon stuff, and so we're going to try and plan it out around that. But we have a couple in mind we want to do. We also kind of want to keep it on a down low between us, which one we're doing, kind of, so it's not like everyone's going with us, all our friends. We just kind of want to do it as a couple. So that's why I'm kind of being a little bit more secretive about it, but not really though. You guys will know as soon as we decide. I guess I'll let everybody know. But yeah, so I've actually started running a little bit. I started swimming a little bit. Swimming is hard. I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm trying to watch YouTube videos and focus on technique stuff, but it is just such a different feel. What's good though is from rowing, I do still have kind of a feel for the water. It's a different feel when you're swimming, but when you're rowing, there's this thing when you put your blade in, if you start hammering too hard, we usually say you'll break the water. There's like a fine line, there's like a tension, there's just enough force you can put on the oar before and you can grip that water, if that makes sense, for you to push the boat. It's kind of hard to explain, but when you put your blade in, you essentially want to move the boat, and blade wants to be sit and in the water. If you apply too much power at the start, your blade is gonna start moving through the water. You're gonna see bubbles on the blade, which essentially means you're breaking the water, which is what we would say back in Croatia. I don't know if there's a term in US for that, but there's a fine line of how much power you can apply. And in swimming, it's kind of similar, because as soon as you put your hand in and you start catching, if you kind of rip through the water, you can feel your hand moving faster and your body kind of staying and not moving. So what you want is, you want to grip the water and push your body past your hand, which I guess I can kind of feel how that feels. And I could see, if you never really had any experience with water sports, how that would be very kind of hard concept to imagine. But I think rowing is gonna help a little bit with the feel, but honestly, it's such a different sport that, it's just not applicable. So swimming is definitely something I'm getting used to, but it's gonna take a long time. Running is hard. I am too heavy to run. I will tell you that right now. I can run decently far, but man, my joints, my knees, my shoulders, everything just starts aching after like 8 miles, and it's just not great. But I think it's just a mileage issue. I need to build up mileage and the fatigue resistance or whatever. So I'll keep running. When I started running, I actually started running a little bit before I broke my collarbone. I was like, just under 10-minute mile pace, which is terrible. But so then I broke my collarbone. I couldn't run for a while. I went back, and then after I started running again, I actually magically started running sub 9 for my easy runs for the same heart rate. And then now I'm slowly getting to sub 8 for my easy runs. So I'm actually progressing really nicely in running. I ran my first half marathon in a long time 2 days ago. I ran about 8:05 minute mile at about 150 average heart rate. So that's pretty good. My goal for the 70.3, if I'm in a good shape, would be to run about 90 minutes to 95 minute half, which I think would be relatively good. So we'll see how it goes, but so far it's so good. I'll bring you guys with me for the runs, but I'm very excited to get better at it. I think I'm slowly understanding why people like running. I don't really like running, never liked running, but it also might be because I never knew really how to run properly. Just a really simple example. My running cadence is between 150 155 strides per minute, I guess. Typically runners run around 180 strides per minute. 170 to 180 is kind of considered a sweet spot. So if you kind of equate it to cycling, if you're at 150 like me, that means that your cadence in cycling would be like, imagine cycling at 60 RPM for everything, right? That's too low. But then when I try running 180 strides per minute, I feel like I'm either taking baby steps or I'm sprinting. So, and I know it's not about like you shouldn't really focus on those things, and it's not that I really train to focus on those things, but when you're analyzing the run or the training, it's kind of really easy to notice that I'm definitely overstriding and taking, way too little. My cadence or strides per minute is too low, which again, I'm just starting, but it's very obvious thing that I could change to get a little to get a little bit faster. So, but yeah, so far everything's going well. I'm excited for it all, and I will bring you guys with me to this journey of going from zero pretty much to a triathlete. Now, cycling side of things is going really well. What I did, and this video is kind of getting longer now. What I did is I actually artificially lowered my FTP. So I think I loaded about 20%. I went from 406 last time I tested to now I set it up at 370. And the reason I did that is because when I run and swim, I'm getting kind of, tired from all of those things. And then adding bike to it, I would just, if I kept my FTP at the same level and I did my interval sessions, I would be pretty much spent. So I feel like this is a good balance where I'm getting just enough training stimulus that I can keep going and going and going without kind of burning out. So right now I feel great with all my training, although I will say the intervals feel easy on a bike. Like I'm doing sweet spot stuff and it kind of is actually tempo. But in reality, when I'm racing the tri, I do kind of want to be around the tempo zone anyway. So what I've been doing is I've been actually training a lot in my TT position. So all of those easier tempo intervals I'm spending in TT. So let's say I'm doing a 330 watt 20-minute effort, I'm going to try and spend all of it in TT, which is actually working out great. But doing TT inside is terrible. Maybe because there's a couple of reasons, but definitely doing TT position on a trainer is not ideal. But you gotta learn, and I think it's gonna help later on. But anyway, I want to show you guys my new setup. So my fiance and I had a house remodel pretty much. So the house is kind of a mess, but I'm getting my room kind of sorted out. So if you can see here, we got cat litters because there's the only place you can put them in a house. My 3D printer, which I'm sure I'm gonna start printing stuff for my bike soon. But here is my bike setup right now. So as I said, I'm gonna be using my road bike, which is LA, Specialized LA Sprint. And I'm going to be putting these NV extension bars on it. So that's gonna be my tri setup as well. I will not be getting a specific TT bike for this because I don't think it's really necessary. I'm not really gonna go that crazy yet unless I get really into time trialing, which honestly I might because I really like time trialing. But that is my computer setup over there. As you can see, I got my mic here. So if I'm Zwifting or doing any like streaming, now I can actually, since it's on a mic arm, I can pull it up to the bike, which is kind of nice. Two monitors. My computer was on the left side before, I moved it on the right. I kind of like this way better. Added a shelf up there with speakers and my router. So it's nice. Yeah, it's kind of got the cabling under the table there, so you don't really see much of it on the floor, except I don't like this here. But it is what it is. So, and as you can see, I don't have a fan, so I've been using this little guy, this little hero. I've been sitting here and just blowing on my face. It's not ideal, not good, but we will get that sorted as well, because my plan was I was gonna look at those utility fans, but I did not like the way they blow from the bottom, because I like to have towels on my bike. So if I have it on the bottom there blowing up, it would just kind of hit the towel and not me. So what I got is I have this guy here, which is a portable AC. So I'm gonna put it on a window, and then I'm gonna have the AC kind of on this down here, so I can move it up and down here to kind of blow, you know, on the side of my body, which should be, I hope, good enough. Because even if it's not just a fan, I can turn the AC on and have a little bit more cooling hitting me when this room gets really hot, and this room gets really hot. Partly my fault because I really heat up the room, but then also it's on a second floor and the heat rises, as you all may know. But yeah, so that is the update. The bike of the, well, I guess just to finish up the bike portion of the try. I'm not going to really worry about the bike speed too much. I think my goal power for it's a 56-mile course. So my goal power is 320 watts, and I'm going to try and maximize aero efficiency so I can get as close as I can to 28 miles an hour at that power. I think that should be possible. Right now, I think I'm hitting about 26, close to 27, and I'm 320. So if I could get 27 and maybe even reduce power, that would be great. But I feel outside, I feel like that's relatively easy, quote unquote, power that I can hold for 56 miles, about 2 hours. And then I just need to make sure I'm eating enough for that run later. But that's kind of the goal right now, and we'll see. But yeah, thank you all for watching again. And I will try to do these uploads more frequent in the next year, just so I can kind of document the journey for the try. But yeah, thank you all again, and have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next one.